to have this guest on. It's going to be a very special show, and we're going to talk about a lot of things that are going to be valuable for you in your beginning journey of astrophotography, or if you're advanced into this hobby, this game. Still going to bring you a lot of great valuable tips. So today's guest is Matt Dieterich. He's a photographer who enjoys night sky and landscape shooting. He has a passion for teaching workshops, and they can be found on mattdieterich.com/workshops. Of course, you're going to find the link down below. And of course, the links are going to be for his Instagram, which you have to go and follow him on Instagram, because we connected there. And he puts out some of the most amazing work that I've seen so far. So make sure you do that. Facebook, YouTube, of course, is going to be a link down below for you to go and check. So Matt, I really appreciate you joining me today. Thanks.
Yeah, it's so awesome being here with you guys. Love the work y'all have been doing. It's so cool.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Again, as I said prior to the interview, it's all about spreading the message. So
yeah,
I'm glad that you're being part of this journey also. So listen, again, the question for you, as you know, is like, what is the big bang of your own, personal journey into this, space photography? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and I can't believe it's already been about 15 years or so, when I really got more involved with the hobby. But I think a lot of times with space-related things or, the outdoors, as a kid, you get involved with them, whether it be through school or your family. But night sky photography started to become an outlet for sharing what I was seeing outside in the night sky when I was taking an astronomy class back in 2017, or no, 2007. It's already been that long, so nearly 15 years. And when I'd be out there with a telescope trying to look at some of these objects, they never look like what I saw in textbook, right? Because I didn't realize that what you see through a telescope with your human naked eye, that it's totally different than what a camera can see. And the cameras are so much more sensitive. So it was such an interesting, I guess, hobby to delve into, because it wasn't easy. And there was a lot of tips and tricks to learn. And the fact that it was difficult is something I really enjoyed. And it kind of blended science with art, because I could be creative all while trying to promote what I was seeing out in the night sky, stuff that to my human eye wasn't visible until I took long exposures with a camera, especially with all the city lights.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So, the question that follows is like, what was your greatest human being that influenced you to follow through on this passion, or was it some sort of an event that helped you to kind of push this forward?
So with my involvement, I remember when I was in elementary school, my godparents got me a very small telescope, like a little Meade telescope that you get from the department store. And that was one of the first pieces of equipment that I actually got. And, I didn't know how to use it because I was so young, but I tried looking at the moon, doing that sort of thing. And then a few years after that, I wanted to do more with the hobby. So getting kicked off with, getting new equipment so I could actually, record more light and start taking some photos. That, my family definitely helped with that. My dad helped buy some of that equipment because, I was in high school, and some of the equipment at the time can be more expensive than what I had available at the time. So my dad helped, I guess, nurture the hobby essentially, and let me do my thing with it. So, but I think, my astronomy teacher as well in high school, she was very excited about some of the photos I was taking, even though looking back, they were very basic and simple, but that's how you have to start out in that kind of hobby. You have to learn some of the tips and tricks and techniques that you're going to use and grow from there. So, teachers and family, I think, were the ones, the people that definitely helped motivate me. And I guess that's the way I see myself now, that I want more people to get motivated and excited about it now, that I've been in the hobby for so long. Not that I get too burned out from it right now, but it's fun getting more people excited. You see the glimmer in their eye that they're going to do big things. And that's kind of where I'm at with what I want to do with my photography, to get more people to take their stuff to the next level at this point.
Exactly, exactly. And I love the fact that you said that the both influence was your teacher would kind of give you the probably the insight into, you know, the space through the books and through, you know, the lessons, and your father helped you, you know, kind of financed you along the way
Yes.
into the
Yeah.
hobby. So that's pretty awesome that you got the support from family at the same time too. So again, from the beginning where you started, can you talk about, you know, because I'm sure you're upgraded, you know, multiple times,
Yeah.
but can you talk about the current equipment that you're working at the moment?
Yeah, so right now, taking a step back, I started shooting through a telescope, which means carrying outside heavy equipment. And slowly over the years, I started to realize that when I would set up the camera equipment on the telescope, you would let it sit and do its things for many hours. And I started to take photos of the behind the scenes, with the actual telescope equipment, because I'd be out under the Milky Way in West Virginia and just wanted to showcase, wow, this is crazy cool. Not many folks on the East Coast get to see the Milky Way like this. So I started transitioning to doing the nightscape imaging, they call it. So just a camera, lens, and a tripod. That's really as basic as it can be for that kind of photography. And, I've been shooting with Nikon for a while. I got some Canon gear as well, but I think any camera that's been made within the last 5 to 10 years, definitely within the last 5 years, is fully capable of the nightscape style of shooting, because they can promote the high ISO shooting, and that just lets you record more light without so much noise in the photograph. So minimal camera equipment now, just 14 millimeter lenses, or a 24 millimeter lens I'll use. And you could experiment and use more magnified, higher focal length lenses, and shoot more magnified targets and create cool big mosaics, which are just big panoramas of the night sky. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so talking about the light equipment, I seen you again, light equipment. I seen your post with the CDK 14 and L350 like mounts in the post. Like, what was that happening in that picture?
Yeah, that was so, during that time when I was shooting, so my full daytime job is with Planewave Instruments. So I help install their equipment, and that was one of the smallest mounts that we currently offer at this time. It's a direct drive mount. So it's so cool looking back compared to 15 years ago, some of the stuff I was using. I mean, the Planewave equipment, the software that's behind everything is so easy to use, and it's on a rolling pier. So I literally was able to just roll the thing out my driveway, and I could do this quick pointing model, which just means it will plate solve areas of the night sky, and then the telescope knows where to go. And all within 15 minutes, I could be up capturing 5-10 minute unguided photos of the night sky with a telescope that's in alt-azimuth orientation. So those systems are very portable and easy to use because of the design, and then you have a field derotator to keep the stars pinpoint. So shooting with that scope, a 14-inch scope from just the backyard in Pittsburgh, is pretty cool and records a lot of light. And it was super fun to use, and hope to do some more shooting with that kind of rig soon.
Yeah, I'm sure it was quite a fun, because we're talking about more than 20,000 worth of equipment over there, you know.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So, but you know, so yes, please, do you
Oh,
wanna
I
add
think,
something to?
yeah, I think it is pretty amazing, especially with the technology and that equipment. I mean, compared to some of the stuff that I started with, but it doesn't have to be that expensive of equipment that people get into this hobby. I mean, that's
Mhm.
something that I definitely want to make people aware of, that you can get into this hobby by spending, $1,000 or even less. If you just want to do a camera and a lens, you could find everything used. And I always recommend people go for used equipment, from a reputable place, or even, online trading places like, Facebook Marketplace and things. As long as you look the equipment over, you could get really good deals, because a lot of times this equipment, people will use it once or twice and then they set it aside, and you can get quality equipment that hasn't been damaged or used a lot. So or you could go the other end of the spectrum, and as you grow with the hobby, you could spend as much as a house. You build your own observatory and put the sky's the limit, metaphorically. So it just depends on what people's budget is. But the good thing now is the gamut spans a gamut with budgets nowadays on equipment.
Got it. So, can you just expand on that a little bit, talking about equipment? Like, what type of equipment would you recommend for somebody who's a beginner?
Yeah, so for just some of the smallest equipment, I mean, people can use, small refractor telescopes. I always was recommended little 80 millimeter telescopes for something portable that come in handy. Or even just, like I said, camera lenses and some of the little sky trackers, which are pretty cool. And those only cost, $400 US to get a little tracking mount. And you could take that out with a tripod and go to a good dark sky site and really shoot some cool photos.
Yeah, definitely. So again, and that's where your workshops come in handy at the same time for people again, because you provide kind of, the insights into what it takes to shoot these amazing photos, which are really amazing. So, and I love what you said, because I spoke with a few, astrophotographers before, and they said kind of exact thing, instead of buying a telescope, which might cost, again, a few grand and going up, with
Yeah.
the mount itself, and plus the softwares on top of that. So, it could be a little bit too pricey. So just buying a decent DSLR, like they say,
Yeah.
it's a good way to start. And again,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it absolutely is. It keeps it very minimal because, people, if you want to create photographs, like actual prints when you're done, you got to edit the photos. And that's what I learned. That's the other like 50% of the effort that's involved, besides taking the equipment, and whether it be just outside in your backyard, fully possible to take amazing photos, even from light polluted areas. But, the artistic end of using, whether it be Photoshop or your stitching software to make big panoramas, that's where the artistic comes in to play, with creating cool photographs that you can print and inspire other people to get out and enjoy nature and the night skies. And that could be just very minimal equipment, like you said, camera, lens, and a tripod. And you could do all that for easily under $1,000 if you get everything used. And that's what's cool about used equipment nowadays. It gets people into the hobby.
yeah, yeah. So again, tripod, camera, and of course sheer enthusiasm for this, because you might need to stand in the cold for a little bit also.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So talking about, again, because 2007, kind of your journey, so quite a few years under your belt currently, and I mean, continuing to do, the amazing work in the space. So, like, what would you consider kind of your biggest achievement so far?
So it's funny looking back at obviously a few events that, I remember when I finished up grad school, I was studying geology and planetary science, and all along the way, I was always seeing, people traveling into national parks and taking night sky photographs, and just that adventure aspect of being out in the wilderness and sharing photographs of the night sky and the landscapes. That inspired me to take a position in Mount Rainier National Park and do astronomy teaching. So we would set up telescopes and camera equipment and teach about the night sky, and get the actual guests, the visitors to the park, involved in night sky photography. And that was easily the single-handed biggest, I guess, transition point in my life as a photographer. And of course, that whole time it was a hobby. It was something I just did for fun. And at that point, I took a handful of photos, well, quite a few, quite a few thousand for that summer, in time-lapse videos. And at the one point later in the summer, my boss needed some images because they're trying to build up a postage stamp for the park centennial. And I sent them a few photographs, and within a few days they said one of my photographs from the park was going to be on a USPS forever stamp celebrating the national park centennial. So
Wow,
that
that is awesome.
thanks, that was looking back, it's like I didn't think anything of it. Like everyone, they said you couldn't tell anything about it because it was happening the following year, so they said keep it quiet because we don't want to spoil anything. And the people at the park that knew, obviously, were really excited for me. And I just thought it was cool that the night skies were getting on a postage stamp, so people around the world are going to see this. And so that has been, I guess, a big piece of what I saw, that folks look at the night sky as art. and I say that, I guess, in quite a few, places, but that was the moment that really turned the, the light bulb on in my head of like, oh, wow, this, to me, it's not just science. Other people look at this as it's that emotional connection, and that's really what I wanted to convey. So, from there, I just tried to build on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. That's something, that's definitely achievement. I mean, in your personal life, as having, like, how many people do you know that can say, hey, listen, look, it's a stand, like, it's my work, So
Yeah.
that's really cool. Again, I would like to mention just a few things that I've seen, like on Instagram. I seen the photo that you installed, the CDK-24 telescope that was in a Adler planetarium in Chicago also.
Hmm.
So just by doing these things, again, because you work closely like with the companies and you do the work, I think it's a great enough achievement in itself. And I want you to give you a lot of credit for that, because at the same time, you're priding this work, because sometimes it just, I don't know, it still means a lot probably for you, and that's why you do this, but it adds up for the entire value of
Hmm.
the space exploration, because as you guys, I push the message a lot, like it's a collaborative thing. Like
Hmm.
if you want to achieve more, we have to kind of collaborate and do this thing,
Yeah.
kind of everybody have to be involved. So it's awesome that you're doing these things also.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talking about, again, exploring the outer space. So what is your opinion again about the life on other planets?
I mean, I think it's with some of the technology nowadays, it's absolutely amazing. I know they just made another organic compound discovery on Venus, I thought it was.
Hmm.
And there's the fact that we can send, satellites to these other planets, and obviously, with Voyager back in the 70s to do the flyby past some of the massive gas giants and out of the solar system. It speaks volumes to what humans can do when they work together, because it still blows my mind that in the 60s that humans were able to safely take people to the moon, and return them. I can't even imagine the math in the physics behind everything that makes that safely possible. But with me, I always say it's like the statistics are overwhelming. It wouldn't surprise me if there's life out there beyond just humans in our solar system, because there's hundreds of thousands of other galaxies out there, probably even a lot more than that. So to me, I guess I look at it as we're possibly just one speck of sand, as Carl Sagan used to say, on that beach. And to me, there has to be something else out there. But I think that's human nature, to kind of dream and wish and wonder that there is more out there than just us. But hopefully it's friendly, as they say, and not aliens that want to take over our planet.
Yeah, it's
So
hopefully it's not like in a Steven Spielberg movies, right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Got it. So again, that was the question that a lot of people do ask you a lot of time. Probably, I think, is there life on other planets? But what is the question that people don't ask, often, or don't ask at all? That like there's this one thing that everybody should know. Can you share that thing?
Um, let's see. That's a that's definitely an interesting one. So I wonder where, how to take that kind of question. Could you repeat it again so I could really sit and think on
Sure.
on how
Yeah,
to respond?
it's just like, like people asking all these questions. How do you, like, what type of telescope I should buy? The mount, all these. What do you think about the life on Venus and like all these things? But what will be kind of this one question that people don't ask, but you kind of know, like people should know about this thing. Like, can you share some of those like pieces
Yeah.
that?
Well, I mean, one of the ones, I guess, going back to like teaching at some of the national parks, doing the night sky tours, people always ask, I guess, if we live in the Milky Way galaxy, how can we see it? It's some of those ones that they don't, it's tough to,
Mm,
you're just seeing it on this kind of two-dimensional facade of the night sky. So, if you take a step back, and I guess the only reason we can explain it is, we believe our galaxy is, a spiral galaxy, right? So, we're out on one of the arms, and when you start to, I guess, show people other photos of other similar spiral galaxies, you can pinpoint and be like, okay, just picture yourself on planet Earth on one of the outside arms, and you can look back into the galaxy. So I get that a lot. when I'll post photos on Reddit and that sort of thing, and you know, people always say, does the Milky Way really look like that? I've never seen it in my life, and there's stuff like that. That it makes me sad at the same time that there's so many people that haven't seen the Milky Way.
Mm,
I mean, it's changed my life in such a unique way, but I know not everyone's excited about the same things. So I guess it's understandable, but I think that's where a lot of the photography and the education comes into play, that you get more people understanding, you know, science and just the natural world out there, you know, just getting to a nice dark sky site to see the Milky Way. For me, it was life changing. So I want more people to experience that.
yeah, got it. So that's a great way to put it. Again, because I think a lot of people, like, we moved away from being in a stone age where we used to live, you know, like in these caves. So now we live in the caves, just like, you know, like a house.
Yeah,
So, and we don't get a lot of exposure to night sky because, again, of the city lights, you know. So that's what's
yeah.
happening. That's why a lot of people don't see the beauty of the universe. But yeah,
Hmm.
just again, we live in the times where you can go and actually and travel a little bit again during the COVID time, just, you know, in the
Yeah,
outskirts of the countryside and see those
yeah.
things. So, like, what is the most difficult thing that you think people will like come across from your personal experience, besides, you know, having the cloudy skies, when you like begin your journey of astrophotography?
Yeah, when I look back, I think the most difficult thing was I have an idea in my mind what the photo is going to turn out because I've seen another photograph of it, right? And I want to try to replicate that. And then when I realized that what comes up on the back of the camera screen is a lot different, because some of these photographs, and with the equipment nowadays, you know, like remote observatories that we can log into in Chile or anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection, you could shoot 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours of images on one target and really shoot something that is unreal. You know, so much data on it. But I think for me, the biggest thing was, it's daunting when you look at some of the raw data and realize how much work is going to be involved to create a final product. So, but at the same time is, you know, you have the images, you have the data, and you can slowly work on it. And there's no rush to get it done, you know, if you're not feeling in the mood to edit, because it is a lot of work to put some of those images together and get everything organized for sharing with people.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of work that goes behind this. Maybe, you know, kind of you take a picture, but when it comes to, you know, like working the
Yeah.
softwares and like doing the behind the scenes work that people see then on Instagram, it is like, oh my God, you know, but there's a lot of that. So, and again, but you have a workshops that kind of teach people how to go through that process. So that is
Yep.
cool. And I do encourage you guys go and check it out, the link below for those workshops. So, like, what do you do to keep yourself, you know, current in a technology? Because again, we live in a kind of technology digital age, so
Yeah.
technology is like going 100 miles, you know, per minute right now. And so, how do you keep the track of the things, you know, advancing?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess number one, you know, camera equipment has advanced so much since I started. The digital cameras were just coming out, and it was the Canon Digital Rebel, you know, the first original, the OG camera that came out. And that camera, you know, you definitely could not do nightscape images with that because you couldn't push the ISO, the sensitivity of the sensor amplification high enough. It didn't have high enough ISO beyond like 1600. And now these cameras, you can do, you know, 400,000. Obviously, the image is going to be very noisy, but just the technology on the camera sensor end has advanced so much within the last 5 to 10 years. So, you know, I think experimenting with equipment and learning, I guess, some of the downsides to maybe some of the older equipment helps you kind of learn and advance in the hobby. And then you realize, okay, I want to take better images, so I need to look at possibly a new camera or a new lens, you know, or, you know, I need to learn more on the image editing front. So the internet's definitely good for all those things. There's so many awesome, you know, photographers out there that, you know, have their own YouTube channel that are doing this, you know, promotion of the hobby, you know, for deep sky astrophotography, just from, you know, the backyard. or the travel style photography, with nightscapes and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of that on YouTube. You could do a lot of learning to stay up to speed on the latest technology
Hmm.
from the equipment side. That's a great resource. And of course there's, people will do blogs on image editing and that sort of thing. But I think, like you said too, with workshops, that's definitely one of the best ways that people can learn and grow with their own imaging. Because if you invest in, an intensive workshop, you're learning so much with someone that has been in the field for a while. So you can advance your own skills really quickly, especially with the steep learning curve that astrophotography has. But that curve has been, lessening, thankfully, with some of the computer technology nowadays. And there's ways they want more people to be in the hobby, so they want to make it simpler to set up a telescope and to capture images and to communicate with the camera and the telescope itself. Because I remember back in the day, I even carried out a full-blown tower computer with a big CRT monitor to go outside and do some astrophotography with, just because I could talk to the telescope. I thought it was the coolest thing. So, check out YouTube, check out Instagram. There's always inspiring people doing cool
Yeah.
astrophotography. And, there's so many amazing photographers on Instagram that will do a lot of stories to help promote their stuff, like to teach people. So it's a great way to get involved and learn about the hobby if you're a little new, or just trying to advance your skills.
Definitely, definitely. So that's a great advice. So you make sure, guys and girls, that you follow through on that advice and join. It's either Matt's workshop, any workshop, and again, become part of something, part of a network of people who have this, same passion as you. So again, having 21 years and counting, experience in astrophotography and space exploration, all these great things. Like, what are the big future projects that you're looking forward to also in the future?
So, this past season, summer season, I was able to become, an artist in residence for one of the national parks. And, I'm already in talks with trying to do another one of those. And, with that trip, it fortunately happened right when Comet Neowise was brightening. And we didn't plan it that way. It just was very unique opportunity. So, there's definitely, I would like to shoot some more time lapse videos and maybe create some kind of video content that I can use to try to help inspire people to get outside into the night sky. And that's something I think for next season, I'm already trying to line up and get organized, because there's a lot of great photographers out there that are pushing the boundaries with their creativity, and it definitely keeps the competition alive with people to try to improve and grow. So, but building collaborations and networks with people, and in 2021, like I said, is going to be holding quite a few workshops, for people to try to get outside into the national parks and take astrophotographs and experience something that we as humans have such a strong connection to, but city lights have pulled that away from us. So that's next year I'm already doing a lot of planning and work to try to get those events lined up.
Got it. Got it. Good. Great. Great. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm, again, going to stay close to you, at least, from a digital point,
Yeah.
staying close to
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
working on. So what will be kind of those, social media platforms to get in contact with you about the workshops and just to see the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I have it up on my Instagram, but of course the website has the full details if people want to see the itineraries and kind of the behind the scenes on what we're going to do. I have all those built out already on my website for the workshops that we're going to be holding for next season in 2021. So it's something I'm excited about and have grown passionate about teaching since I did that adventure trip at Mount Rainier back 5 years ago. So the greatest thing I think we could give is our time to teach and educate and get new people into this hobby. And now more than ever, there's so many people getting into it because of social media. And I've been trying to make a few YouTube videos to do tutorials, and I'll post on Facebook and that sort of thing. But my website's definitely the place to check out where the workshops are at and get signed up for next season. to some of those if people want to get into the field and shoot.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So of course, all the links are going to be down below as always for you guys and girls to go and check. Make sure to follow Matt again on Instagram. Check it out on Facebook. You have to subscribe to his YouTube channel for additional free content. I mean, he's putting out some great videos. I checked those before he jumped on an interview. So I love that too. So it's a really great content coming up on YouTube on his channel.
Yeah.
Make sure again to check it out, the workshops, and as Matt said, you know, there's a lot of people getting involved into this industry, and as I mentioned before, it's just a collaborative, you know, part. So make sure to take your part into this right now, because due to the social media and again to technology, we can all you know, add value to this beautiful thing. So make sure to go and check these links. Again, Matt, I really appreciate the time today. It's been a great fun. It's been a great fun. And one thing that I want you guys to do is just to pass it along, this message. Just make sure to share it with a friend who has this passion, or you think might have passion towards, you know, astrophotography, space exploration. That's all I'm asking. And again, Matt, I appreciate the time. And guys, as always, I'm going to see you in the next episode. Keep exploring.